everyone, and welcome to our first week of the Digital Literacy Series. The Digital Literacy Series is a 6-week webinar workshop series designed to introduce contemporary craft artists to digital tools and tricks to help participants formalize their online presence and their capacity to market, promote, and sell their products online. This series was made possible thanks to funding support from the Canada Council for the Arts Digital Strategy Fund. My name is Stephanie, and some of you may know me as a Craft Business Development Coordinator at the Cape Breton Centre for Craft and Design. The Cape Breton Centre for Craft and Design is a non-for-profit charitable organization which aims to preserve and promote craft through economic development, training, and education here in Cape Breton Unama'ki on the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. Each week, we will be joined by our lead digital panelist, Sean Green, who is the founder, president, and CEO of VMP Group, a digital agency here in Sydney. Sean will be presenting on different facets, techniques, and tools that can facilitate running an online business. Thank you all for joining us today. And thank you for joining us, Sean. Now let's get started today with the first topic, which is brand development.
Welcome everyone to the Digital Masterclass Series, Week 1. My name is Sean Green, and I'm president of VMP Group, a digital agency based in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. We just celebrated 25 years in business, and I'm hoping that over the next 6 weeks we can share some of what we've learned over that time. Let's get started. So here's what everyone should expect from today's session. The ultimate goal of this series is to help you get more comfortable with digital tools and strategies to help market, promote, and sell your products. This has become more relevant and more important than ever with the global pandemic. For those of you who aren't currently selling products online or need an upgraded online presence, we'll also be covering some specific approaches for e-commerce. In today's session, we'll be first giving you an overview of what to expect from this series. This week, we'll begin at the very beginning and talk about building your brand, your market position, and get you to think about your customers from a slightly different perspective. We're going to use the RACE framework as our guide for the series. It stands for Reach, Act, Convert, and Engage. It's a popular and common sense approach to digital marketing. It basically follows 4 steps. The reach phase is anything and everything you do to publish and promote your content and your products. It's the sum of all of your active marketing and advertising activities. The act phase involves making yourself worth considering. Content, branding, and your overall online presence are the moving parts of this phase. Then we have the convert phase, which are the tactics you use to convert a visitor into a customer. Namely, you'll need to provide a great customer experience and make it as easy as possible to buy your products. Finally, we have the engage phase, which is about maintaining that relationship with your customer. You want to thank them for their patronage, you want to maintain contact, and ideally turn them into advocates. In a sense, they become part of your virtual sales force. We'll be exploring aspects of each of these phases throughout the next 6 weeks. At the end of each session, we'll give everyone a small assignment to help put what we've just covered into practical application. Each assignment will build on the last one. We've put a lot of thought into how we should structure the program over the next 6 weeks. The RACE model that I described provides us with a good starting point in terms of broad topics. We also wanted to provide some tangible takeaways for participants, some real skills and assets that you can apply to your own business. For those of you who may have an out-of-date website, for instance, or no website at all, or currently don't have an e-commerce solution, we want to provide you with those skills to ideally build your own website by the end of the next 6 weeks. Here are the topics. Week 1, which is today's session, we will speak about branding, market positioning, and understanding your customers. Week 2 will focus on web and e-commerce solutions and strategies. Week 3 will focus on content and content marketing. Week 4 will explore social media tactics and strategies. Week 5, we'll talk about sales and CRM, which stands for customer relationship management, and some tools and practices to increase your sales and your conversions. Week 6, we'll talk about digital marketing, including paid search, display ads, and other forms of digital advertising. By the end of the series, we're hoping that you can better manage and promote your own e-commerce presence. So what is a brand? Well, definitions are varied. If you do a Google search, for instance, with the search terms brand, you're going to get a lot of variations on a somewhat similar theme. Ultimately, a brand represents the perception that customers have of your product or service. Almost any tier of an operation or company can have a brand. Sometimes the focus is the product itself, like a beverage, or it's the company. When it comes to celebrities, sports players, musicians, and artists, it's often the person themselves who embodies that brand. And brands can be architected in all kinds of ways, depending on the mix of product, service, and target audience. All that being said, branding is basically the collection of everything you do to build and maintain and defend that perception. So what's a brand's purpose? So we're saying that a brand is that perception created in the mind of consumers. This can vary greatly based on the product, service, and audience mix. However, brands largely need to accomplish these things. A successful brand identifies, it differentiates, it creates an impression, it tells a story, it has a personality, and it makes a promise. Ultimately, a brand's purpose is to build trust and confidence and to convince your prospects that you can meet their needs better than any other provider. Now that we know what a brand's purpose is, how do we develop one? What are its components? To start, it helps to firm up that purpose with a statement describing what you do and what you stand for. Since brands make a promise to their customers, they always need to be based in truth and be defendable. Your brand needs an identity and a personality that best represents your product, your service, and your goals. Brands need to be unique and help you stand out from the crowd. Your brand needs to be consistently represented in the languages that you use, the imagery, graphics, and other visual treatments. These are very important. And finally, your brand is only going to be successful if it creates an emotional connection with your target audience. As artists and artisans, you are a critical part of your overall brand's identity. I want you to think about the last time somebody asked you this question and whether or not you had a clear answer. A personal brand statement will get you thinking about how you and your products should be perceived by your prospects. Think of it as a way to answer that dreaded question. So what do you do for a living? And answer it quickly and with some style. Today, we literally have seconds to make an impression on our audiences. So we need to get that message out quickly and succinctly. A personal brand statement is typically a sentence or two that you share with your customers and your prospects. Although a personal brand statement can take a lot of different forms, its most basic structure is, "Hi, I'm blank. I help blank to blank." A personal brand statement can often serve multiple duties, such as a slogan or what salespeople call the elevator pitch. It forces you to think about how you would convince someone to consider your products or your services if you only had a few seconds to do so. Here's some great personal brand statements that don't leave you guessing about what these individuals do for a living. Life coaches and motivational speakers definitely have their personal brands perfected. Entrepreneur and life coach Marie Forleo catches the attention of her audiences with a motivating statement. The world needs that special gift that only you have. She understands her audience and has a powerful way to address aspiring creatives and entrepreneurs. Her personal brand statement reads, "Hi, I'm Marie, an entrepreneur, writer, philanthropist, an unshakable optimist dedicated to helping you become the person you want to be." Then there's Tony Robbins, the well-known self-improvement guru with a powerful and simple brand statement, transform your life. He follows up with a supporting statement, close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Carol Tice is a freelance writer and blogger. Her blog, Making a Living Writing, was established to help writers. Her statement is very clear, direct, and resonates with writers looking to establish a career in the field of writing. This final personal brand statement is an example from Thomas Frank, the founder of College Info Geek, a service that helps students become more effective and productive. His brand statement simply reads, "Become a better student." He supports that statement with, "Hi, I'm Thomas Frank. My team and I built College Info Geek from the ground up to help you learn effectively, spend less time studying, and become more productive, even if you're not in college." So these are just 4 quick examples of how a properly constructed personal brand statement can effectively capture the attention of your target audience. Here are a few tips to help you develop your own personal brand statement. You can start by creating a list of words that best describe your brand, its identity, and your product or service. Be diligent in condensing the message and the words down into only the very best, the most compelling words. In preparing your statement, think about the prospects and customers. Who are they? What are they looking for? And what motivates them? And remember to keep your statement snappy. Make it direct and keep it brief. Now we're going to take a look at some examples of some different brands, how they deal with their competition, how they differentiate, and how they create connections with their targets. Our first example is Mejuri, a handcrafted fine jewelry shop that offers online shopping and operates several physical stores in major cities in Canada and the United States. Their brand is about providing handcrafted jewelry that they make affordable by cutting out traditional markups. The brand is also about enforcing the idea that fine jewelry can and should be worn every day, not just for special occasions. They support this position with smart and consistent messaging and a strong social media presence that encourages audience engagement. They work very hard to maintain that customer relationship and defend their brand position by keeping their prices reasonable, providing a range of shopping tools and style guides, engaging with their shoppers across a variety of media channels, and introducing exclusives and limited edition drops every Monday, every week of the year. The jury also strives to be socially and environmentally responsible with all of the products. Through these activities and others, they've established a loyal following of customers who have become strong advocates of their brand. Our second example is Domiano Errico, who is an Italian fine art photographer. After attending the Art Institute of San Lucio, he attended the Academy of Fine Arts in Naples. He exhibits regularly in galleries and museums across Italy. He's best known for his portraiture, which is heavily inspired by Renaissance paintings. This has become a strong symbol of his brand's identity and overall market position as a fine art photographer. He's successfully created a leadership position in this style of portrait photography. He maintains his brand through social media on both Facebook and Instagram, where he regularly posts his work, his thoughts, and his activities. Damiano also shares his skills and experience with aspiring photographers through workshops and master classes. His website is built in WordPress, and he uses a layout that is very similar in style to Instagram, if you can see here. Our third example is Katie Spragg. Katie Spragg is a London-based artist who works in clay, but combines it with a range of processes, including photography, illustration, and animation. She's described her work as three-dimensional drawings in clay that capture a moment in time, and her animations describe the dynamic, receptive qualities shared by clay and grass. Her work has been featured in exhibitions across London. She's developed a unique art style that supports her brand and identity as an artist, and she's crafted a unique personal brand statement that describes her style and her approach to her creations. Her website, like many fine artists, follows a design and layout similar to Instagram, where the focus is on her creations with little distraction. Her site was built using Squarespace. On social media, she's active on Instagram, most active on Instagram, where she posts much of her work as well as her personal life moments. She also uses Vimeo to showcase her work in animation and moving art. Katie complements her social media engagement by offering a range of workshops and courses in both clay and ceramics to aspiring artists. Positioning is that real estate that you want to occupy in your target customer's mind. It's essentially what you want them to think when they think of your brand. Positioning, therefore, needs some context. It needs to understand its target audience. It needs to differentiate from similar products, and it needs to support that position with proof. In other words, it needs to be authentic and based in truth. Here are some brand positioning examples. Brands that own their market position. The Coca-Cola Company has been around since 1892 and is regarded as one of the world's most recognizable brands. Its undisputed brand position was solidified nearly 50 years ago with its historic "I'd like to teach the world to sing" Hilltop ad in 1971. Since then, Coca-Cola has owned that brand position, which is of happiness, sharing, and overall positivity. Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, is known for his obsession with customer service. He's even been known to occasionally work in the Amazon Customer Service Center. His philosophy has always been to solve the customer's problem and take as long as it takes to do so. It's been rumored that Amazon gives out awards each year to the longest customer support calls, with one rumored lasting an entire 7-hour shift. Apple's brand is about quality. Its obsession, attention to detail, and providing premium products that appeal to creatives. It's long been the platform of choice for designers and artists, and Apple has worked very hard to maintain that position. A brand positioning statement is a slightly adjusted take on the personal brand statement. It should be noted that a brand statement, or sorry, positioning statement is an internal statement designed for your eyes only. The format is commonly structured in a way that describes your target market, your brand promise, that is what you're going to do for your customers, and then support that by proof. Some questions you might want to ask yourself when establishing a brand position include, is it unique? Does it differentiate me from others doing similar things? Is this something that I can own? Is it authentic? Can I prove it? Can I support it? When it comes to marketing to your customers, one size almost never fits all. Customer personas, or buyer personas, are fictional people designed to represent a segment of your customers. By defining your customers in this way, you can more finely tune your messaging so it has a greater impact. As we'll learn later in this series, segmenting your customers will make it much easier to advertise to them using digital channels like Google, Facebook, and Instagram. There are different ways to define a customer persona, but I'd like to use a table like this one. The approach involves creating a persona for each of your customer segments. How many customer personas you need will be largely up to you, but starting off, I'd suggest keeping it to about 3 or less. The process really forces you to learn and think about your customers. What motivates them? How to best communicate with them. As we'll learn in the coming weeks, you can then begin to target your messaging and advertising to better reach and connect with those personas. In terms of structure, you can think about their demographic information, their age, their income levels. Are they parents? And other background factors. We can consider their personality, their demeanor. Are they risk takers? Are they adventurous or conservative? Next, we can consider their goals and their motivations. What are they looking for? In the case of art, what is it that motivates them to action, to purchase? We can think about their challenges and their obstacles. What's keeping them from their goals and why aren't they buying our products? Think about what you can do to remove these obstacles, preventing customers from buying your products. And finally, you can think about messages, language, and communication methods, and other ways that we can deliver our message so it sticks. Last but certainly not least, as an artist, you are the embodiment of your brand. It's important that you talk about yourself and tell your story. People are buying your products and they want to know everything about you, so don't be shy and share. They want to know things like how you got started, how you became interested in your craft, your journey to where you are today, a bit about your background, your interests, and what it is that makes you, you. People want to get to know you since there's a part of you in every piece of art you design and you create. We've covered a lot of material today, so here's a quick recap. We talked about what a brand is, and a brand is that perception that your customers and your prospects have of you. We talked about branding. Branding, simply put, is all the stuff you do to build and maintain that view and perception. We explored the elements of a brand, its purpose, and its core components. We talked about positioning your brand, impressing upon your audience and occupying that space in their mind. We also examined customer personas and how they help you better identify, segment, understand, relate, and communicate to your prospects. And finally, we touched on connections. And one of the best ways to connect with your audience is through storytelling. So tell your story. So we've got a small assignment for you to work on before you try out our next session. First, we want you to create your own personal brand statement using what you've learned today. This is a public-facing statement, so make it clear, strong, and uniquely you. Next, create your brand positioning statement. Remember, this is an internal statement to help you identify and determine how you're meeting a specific market demand and why your prospects should believe you. And finally, we want you to define your customer personas to better understand the different customer categories buying your products. Thanks everyone for participating in this first session, and we look forward to the next 5 weeks. Thank you.